Hello everybody, and a very warm welcome back to Cockpit Drivers Championship, and we are live for the season finale, and apologies about that. We've ran ourselves into a delay, but we should be okay now. You weren't hearing me earlier because I was not on the mic, but now I am on the mic, ready to go. We still have a couple of minutes in qualifying, but all we need is the race. What we need is the race, where points will be scored and things will go crazy. Well, looking at the driver's stand, unfortunately, as quick as we had to get in, we won't be able to get it, but looking at the Drivers' Championship so far, it is Scooter who leads with 139 points, with Gap Reaper with 118, with 99 points, Simpish with 86, and Gap Reaper and Scooter fighting for the Drivers' Championship then. Nearly 20 points separating the two, still 21 points. But still, a bit of a chance for Gap Reaper otherwise. Sorry, a bit of a chance, yes, otherwise it's going to be Scooter who's going to be taking it. Scooter has currently set up the fastest time of the session and on pole position with 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session right here with Farouk in P2. So meanwhile, Gap Reaper in P3. Championship rival of Scooter right here with Simpish in P4 is out of the session. Dree currently in P5. Remember, Dree, the man who won the previous race in Berlin, I believe it was, and he took victory there. Well, Commander Rex is in P6, and then it is unless they're a new driver. They can in P7 without a time on the board. Is Dree out and have a look to go, try and go. Is he going fast? He certainly will be trying, but he only has 10% battery remaining, remember, and he's charged a little bit, but before he's even middle stick, that could be confusing, depending how much he improves by. He needs 2 seconds at least to get past, and no, he's 9/10 down on his previous time. And understandably so, he has no battery at all, and definitely the ERS, having no ERS will affect a little bit. But we should be okay now. We should be all good to go racing. Meanwhile, we did try to be as back as... Actually, let me say a fun fact. I took 23 minutes to be back home and turn the computer on. What normally... If I was normally coming up, it would have taken me 25 minutes, and that too just get home. So, considering this, I parked the car where I got out and then came upstairs in my room and did everything I did, and then pressed the live button on the computer in 23 minutes. So this was the all needed to put I put to not miss out on the final race of the season, and we need to make this a fantastic one in these remaining 3 minutes in qualifying and final qualifying session of the season, which could be interesting. And remember, for the very first season here at Cockpit Drivers Championship as well, so a lot and all that comes down to right now and right here will be coming up. So we'll only be hoping one thing and one thing only, that is to have great action and get some great racing performance from these drivers as well for the final race of the season, for the final time, and I believe the stream audio will, stream title will also be a little bit would be outdated, but we can fix that later on, because simply with how quickly I had to come, there was no time to even change that. Meanwhile, I hope the stream quality is okay. If not, we might have to change the internet, which I'll do later and at the end of qualifying if we do need to, but do let me know if that is okay. As long as that's okay, we do not need to change it. Meanwhile, one man who is going to be looking to change his position is going to be Gap Reaper, who is a couple of tens behind Faruqi, who's in P2. Meanwhile, Scooter is on, and he's not improving, at least at the end of that middle sector. And in fact, no, at the end of that first sector, sorry, he's not past the middle sector at all. Middle Gap Reaper is in that final sector. 5.5 tenths up on his for time in the middle sector there. How good is that going to be overall of a time? He needs nearly 9 tenths to get past Scooter and on pole position. Can he get that? No, he can't, but he's going to just get over Ferrucchi and onto the front row. That's pretty much all he needs to get himself a chance against Scooter, to get himself a chance against Scooter, and somewhat of a performance that he'd be looking one more chance at. While we are right here, Scooter is still yet to come over the line, and we yet to see, has he improved on his time? He couldn't in the first sector, he did in the middle sector, but what about an overall lap? Yes, he can. Gets even better on his time. 1 minute 0.093, and Ferrucchi is currently on an outlap, but it's going to be a race against the clock for him to get to the checkered flag and start a lap, which could be very tricky as he's just on that second DRS straight, and just got 20 seconds remaining before he could go to the end. And Abu Dhabi, so it's not a lot of areas that you could cut the corners to get yourself closer to the line as well. And I think he's going to be taking the checkered flag without starting the lap, but this could be quite close. And I think he's just gonna miss the checkered flag by 4 more seconds, and that's gonna be the end of it. He's gonna have to take the checkered flag and end up in 3rd place. Ferrucchi for the season qualifies P3 with Reaper in P2 and Scooter in P1 and on pole position, and he hasn't taken the checkered flag because he simply has ended it and then continued out there. Meanwhile, it is Tree out on track as well, not out in Dragonfly in the pits, has taken the checkered flag. DNFs. It's going to be Scooter who is going to now take the checkered flag, come to the end of this, and set his base and base strong enough for a pole position and give him a chance who will pull away and possibly set up a performance that nobody can catch, and everyone is going to be hoping we're the best. Well, now remember, it is Scooter who's on 139 points with Gap Reapers on 118. Quite a lot of points separating too. But the championship could have been over last week, so to have it still active, the credit goes to Gap Reaper, who qualifies in P2, just behind Scooter, who's on pole, with Ferrucchi in P3, followed by Dree in P5. Then Commander X in P6 and AR in P7 without time on the board. And now we should be getting into the Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. This is as good as a championship fight, a championship battle, before we move over to the final race of the season. And I think there should be a bit of a lot of do that. Here on, so let's have a look at this final round of the season, round 10 of the racing lap, and it is as one of the requested for nobody, as we are out there. Is the closest rival to Scooter the man. So how good is that going to be? We're and everything. Well, this one, it all come to this race right here. So who are you supporting? Do you think it's going to be Scooter who takes the championship, or Gap Reaper that is going to give him a huge of a challenge before the end of this race, before the end, and we to the end of this season? So it's all it is. And if Gap Reaper wins this is going to be a performance out of like a rock star, and I think that's pretty much Scooter, is as long as he does not DNF, he's going to be okay with only 7 drivers in this race. He can't even score the minimum points. So if he's just, even if Gap Reaper wins, he gets 25 points, or even if he gets 26 points, all Scooter will need would be 5 points. So that's all. I think that's only if Reaper wins, 25 points, and then an extra fastest lap point as well. So that's that'll be 6 points to him, which will possibly 20 points. Yep, so that'll be about 144 points. So about 5 points, if that too, only if it is. And I think for P10 it's 10 points, for P6 it's 8 points, and for P7 it is 6 points. So even if it's Scooter who finishes 7, so let's see how is that and how good we want it to be, to find out where we're going to be getting, and we're going to just in a minute. So we'll be picking up the action as soon as we're on track for the action to start. And it is takes to get started, and before we begin, it is time to get started. I think we should be okay to get started for free, as drivers have told. Good luck to get on, as we are going to be right. And there we go. It should be a formation lap, so we should be cool, calm, and collected for the formation lap. But then look at that. It is Faruqi Man in P3 and Sipish in P4, with Dre in 5 on the grid, with Commander X in P6 and AR in P7, while the top 2 in the championship, Scooter and Gap Reaper in P1 and 2. Remember, even if, let's say, Scooter finishes P7, he's going to have about 6 points. That's going to take him equal to Gap Reaper, but that also only if Gap Reaper 1 wins the race to also get to fast. That's going to be equal on points, and then that on to who's got more wins through the season. It's going to be a 2-stop race. Let's say medium, hard, 3-stop, which I doubt we can take, but it'll be actually interesting if it's just a 2-stop, because sometimes different positions or different, let's say, different things out there, which could be interesting. Well, everybody starts either on the medium or the hard tire. Nobody going on the soft compound tire there. So everybody on the set of hard mediums, apart from the 2, Reaper and currently in P5. Remember, G1 in Brazil, which was best performance of the season, a podium in the sprint, and then did he win though? I'm not quite sure, but I think he did win, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, I can't read you guys' comment. We'll need to make that a thing through next season, but how I have came to basically I have been building up for a PC, and I've got the parts now finally ready. It was a final power supply, the power unit, if you want to call it, in the power terms, that was remaining. It's like I got everything. I got the car, the aerodynamics, but the power unit was missing. So I made sure it wasn't in Renault 1, so it doesn't stop in DNF, but it's okay. Now let's get started. It is Scooter on pole with P2, the top two in the Drivers' Championship, all on for the final time this season. 500 likes. We go racing here in Abu Dhabi. Ian Tyre with the hard compound tyre, and both runners get a rapid start. Faruqi, and then it is Scooter. Simpish at the back as well, as the better started up to P4 has dropped and made Simpish lose the place, while AR has rapidly and straight away gained a place on Creeper, on Commander X as well, and Commander is an AI along AR, both of them are, and that's the one thing. And as it was gonna be always, Reaper was gonna have cold tires, and at that race start it was gonna be very tricky for him to really still be in that lead and keep that off the start, or have a chance. I mean, his best chance to take that lead was either start on the soft tire or be on the medium, just like Scooter. But the unorthodox one, these guys are going side by side. I'm unsure whether one of them is an AI or both of them are, or maybe none of them are. None of these two are. But these guys, remember, for the first lap, if I'm not mistaken, if such thing happens, the game usually ghosts you. But where we need to find out what we're going to be looking at, but only until these guys are a little bit away from each other. So Faruqi now in P2, while Scooter leads in P1. We got Reaper 8/10s behind Faruqi in P3. 29 laps of racing right here, so a 2-stop is all they need. Simpish in P5 with AR in P6, while Commander X in P7 so far. And I was talking about fastest laps, possibly. If we see, let's say, oh, that's going to be interesting now. We were talking about top two. It could be interesting right here. Faruqi closing up. And Simpish is closing up on Dree. And Dree will have to defend to up his position there. He could do it now into turn 5, but can he do it off the straight and into the chicane with the DRS available on Simpish's car? The rear wing's going to open, but Dree's going the defensive line to keep up his place, and he certainly can keep up his place, or can he though, because Simpish, for a moment you would have thought he's going to go for it, but he will not. And again, another DRS, and the DRS zone is going to be on right here. Well, we'll be right here on it with Simpish with another chance to try and get past him. He won't be able to do that, or at least he's not able to do that right now. But he's got up to Faruqi. Remember, Faruqi on the medium tires, so the medium tires are possibly now, but within a couple of laps those tires could drop off, and Gap Reaper has improved magnificently throughout the season, if I'm saying that right. And Faruqi runs a little bit wide, and Reaper there. He's going to try and get a back, but that could have been a championship, or up for the two championship rivals. Reaper, remember, did a previous race brilliantly to give himself the chance of a a defensive finish, or to have himself still in the championship because of his performance in the previous race. And the race results from Brazil are is beyond, and he's going to get past 3, and he will get past 3 with the help of that DRS, or really though, because 3's going to send it on the sideline, and that might allow Simpish to try and come back. Brilliant exit on 3 there, will have him lead the race. Oh, sorry, position, but not anymore, as it's going to be Simpish who takes the place back again. And the chop is, maybe not, but at least at the moment, both have different tires, and just like, and so Reaper score 26 points, or 25 points overall, 25 points. in the previous race. But so Eddie won, maybe, possibly. I mean, maybe that gap would have been a little bit more, but it's not the case. But right now, and Simpish now being on medium tires is going to try and simply pull away from and ahead of Dree there in P45. Simpish is in P4. He has been overtaken by Gapripa there while we were looking at things, and by battle at the back, Faruqi has been overtaken, and already a second has been lost from Faruqi to Reaper. Maybe Faruqi's tires are now starting to drop off, possibly because of that bit of pressure, maybe, but not quite sure what is on. We'll find out what we're about to get. Well, at the back of the grid, there's a bit of a fight going on, and it is again between Reaper, AR, and Commander Rex. One of these guys is an AI. I'm not sure who is, but it might be AR. But both, yep, it might be AR, or in fact, Commander Rex. Also difficult to judge. Otherwise, both of them are an AI, or one of them is. Meanwhile, we're 4 laps into this right here. Our leader should go into lap 5, while our others are on lap 4. Meanwhile, our leader's still not on lap 5 yet, but should be getting over from lap 4 into lap 5. And you know, lap 5 out of 29, so still so much and a lot more is remaining in the Grand Prix, and you know, a lot of action and everything is going to remain in this one so far. So we'll find out what we're going to be getting ourselves into, possibly towards the second stint, you know, or the third stint, let's say. You know, that second stop, as everybody's done their second stop, it's then going to be time and chance, you know, everything on how we're going to be getting and what we are going to be getting right there. Meanwhile, we can see Commander X, A and AR together and closer to each other. I possibly put that it is... No, I could see both of these guys. No, it's definitely not. Or maybe just when they're together, it turns into ghosting cars. I think possibly ghosting is on. That's why we're looking at this. But now look at this. Dree and Simpish getting closer as well. Dree's now caught up to Simpish, who possibly wouldn't be feeling the best, because as he's getting up or getting caught up by Simpish there, Dree there. Meanwhile, Simpish now gets a 3-second time penalty as well for running it a little bit wide, maybe more wide than he needs to be, but certainly wider than he would want to. And it is on. So now, you know, we're gonna be looking at what we want to be and what we have to be, as the now Dree still 5/10 to the car ahead. And when is he going to get that position? We don't know yet. Is he even going to be able to get it though? Because 3%, just 3% on their battery, as compared to 30%, 35 to Simpish's car. Sure, Simpish has got a penalty, but he's going to have to worry about that later. And I think Dree, you know, anybody could get very early in this race, just six laps in. We're going to have to fight for it. So let's see what we're going to be seeing. We've only got 7 drivers as well. Meanwhile, it's going to be Dree who's going to switch up, make the long switcheroo, and he's going to be able to get past Simpish, and he gets past him and ahead already, despite only 5% on his battery, 13% I believe on the exit of turn 5. Remember, it was only going to be a time we would witness the DRS do its magic, and it certainly did its magic. A long straight there, and certainly helped Dree get past Simpish there for 4th place. And remember, Simpish has got a 3-second time penalty for track limits, but it's then interesting to get on what we have. Meanwhile, our race leader 4.4 seconds ahead of the next car, and it is, remember, a championship on the line. AR is an AI, so is Commander X. Possibly they just haven't gone back to normal just yet, or either they both are currently ghosted for some odd reason. But I believe that only happens if they are not even racing. But maybe we should not be focusing on that right now. Rather should be focusing on Simpish, who with the help of that DRS along with the battery could have a chance to get past Dree there, and most certainly he has everything in control to get past Dree. Is he gonna sit it on the inside line? No. And yep, it is interesting. Meanwhile, it's on. But, you know, this one is going to continue still. Simpish is going to have a chance. Meanwhile, Dree is going to try and defend on the inside. And defends it brilliantly well, so far at least. And he's surely making Simpish work, you know, despite being on the faster medium tire. He's making him work. He's going to make him veer those medium tires off. And they're slightly going to make contact. And I think by lap 10... it should be time for the medium tire runners to come back in. Meanwhile, Commander and AR, the two AI drivers, up at the very back, giving a little bit of a battle, but we'll probably only choose it when we have nothing to look at in this race. So far, we have Simpish and Dree, who are giving each other a very hard time, and in these 8 laps, it's not at all. Well, we are going to look at the front. Scooter, 4.1 seconds he leads by. Gap Reaper in P2 ahead of Ricky by 8.8 seconds. Who's ahead of Dree and Simpish by over 10 seconds. Meanwhile, Simpish is only 3/10 now behind Dree. And a move is going to come up. A move is going to be on the way very soon, to say the least. And we are right here. Oh, they're nearly going to make contact. They're nearly going to make contact. Simpish around the outside. Dree's going to have the inside. And Simpish nearly overtook him off the track earlier. But he's going to come back now. And Dree making those hard tires work. He's going to get that position ahead of Simpish once more. And surely he's not going to let him have it easy at all. And remember, this is the final race of the season as well. So everybody wants to end on a high. Everybody wants to end on a brilliant position. Dree, remember, your Grand Prix winner in the previous race in Brazil. And I'm sure Simpish has won one of the races as well. I think it might have been round 1 in Bahrain. And yes, it is. It was round 1 in Bahrain that Simpish won. And that both these drivers are a Grand Prix winner. And 1 Grand Prix winner each this season. So I'm just looking at results to see who has won. I think it's Scooter who has won most of the races. Yeah, it was Felix as well. Felix was a driver. We were the one to look at in recent times, but possibly he dropped down, and then Scooter came in at the top. But also remember, then it was one of the other drivers to win in Spain, I believe. I'm not sure whether I did Spain or not. I'm sure I did. But yeah, basically, we got our point and the answer that these two are a Grand Prix winner each. One in Bahrain, the other in Brazil. Simpish nearly once more again at the same corner previous lap as well. He nearly lost it on the exit, and same goes this time as well. As now the gap is 1.3 seconds, and maybe those medium tires are going to run out of grip. Meanwhile, Scooter has pitted, and Gap Reaper is going to continue in his lap, and no, he's going to come in the pits. And I would have thought that Gap Reaper is going to stay out and possibly do an overcut, or at least attempt to do an overcut on Scooter there, because possibly that would have been his only chance, and he did exactly as many laps as one would do on a medium tire, so definitely he's not making those hard tires to his use at all, and that's going to allow Scooter to take back the lead, and Scooter once again leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and if he's going to win, and Gap Reaper needs to win with the fastest lap, and then we need Scooter to finish in P7, and only that is going to have a chance. Gap Reaper to also finish on exactly as many points as it gets, so he's even going to be getting, as much points or let's say a point away, even if he maximizes everything in his control. So a championship win to Gap Reaper, very unlikely, unless and until Scooter DNFs, but I'm sure he's not going to be looking to do that at all. Well, so Scooters went for another set of mediums. So definitely that would be interesting, and I think now we could then get an idea of Reaper possibly not feeling the best on that hard tyre. So a medium hard, I'd assume, or possibly if he could stay a little bit out, or a little bit, let's say a little bit further away. Let 12 lap. He's done 2 laps on this tyre. At the end of this lap, it'll be 3 laps, but we'll be into lap 12 as well. So if he's able to just do about 10 laps from here on this tyre, let's say 13 to 14, he should actually be able to end this race on the soft tyre. So he might not even need the hard tyre for the end of this race, but it only depends on what he's going to be doing now, because still a lot remains in the race. We're only on lap 11 out of 29, so we're nearly not even halfway in this race yet as well. So that's how it's really difficult for anybody to nail and them to really get on. Now the bottom 2 are pitting, but those are the 2 AI drivers in our race, which is AR and Commander X. They've actually been fighting each other, which is interesting to see. But let's say lap 12 out of 29 leads by over 8.1 seconds. Our leader, and 3 is now in the pit. So interestingly, I would have thought that these guys are going to go a little bit longer on the hard tyre, but then probably they're not really able to, and that's why Reaper also pitted within 8 laps on the hard tyre. So it might just not be one of the best tyres at all, and possibly, I think this simply opens the door for them, is to probably go for 8 to 9 laps on the medium tyre, and then again possibly go for let's say another set of mediums. So a hard medium strategy could have them give them a chance to be on a better tire towards the end of this race against everybody else. But remember, unless and until Scooter DNFs, there's no way that he's gonna be not gonna be winning the championship. Pretty much championship's over, but still a second place in this championship of many drivers is not easy at all. And if you are able to do that, you don't have to finish in be 1 and 2 in the championship either, to simply show how good you could be, and you certainly have been overall, let's say. So it could be interesting. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna have a look at how many wins each of these drivers have. So previous race it was actually Furlofa. So all right, so now we're going to count race. So in Italy it was Gap Reaper in round 6 at Monza, so win number 1 for him. At Las Vegas it was Felix, so currently to win number 1. We're comparing a Reaper and Scooter at this point in case they finish exactly on same points. And all right, in Japan, I believe Scooter won in China as well, so that would make the things over, but let's see. So currently 1 win each, Monza and Japan as well. What about China? And so Gap just won a single race this season. Despite winning only a single race, he is your championship rival against Scooter. Sure, one could argue, you know, he's got very unlikely chances of winning the championship or even getting. Still, I think, you know, considering just making everything out of nothing, you know, let's say had he not performed the way he did in Brazil, this chance would have been there as well. So interesting. And now 7/10. Oh, Dre, Simpish nearly lost it, as now Dre and Simpish are only separated by 1.3 seconds. And once again, those fights could begin. Those fights could start. Meanwhile, it is Commander in P7 and P7 and P1. He's going to be lapping right there. Meanwhile, Simpish and Dre are on it. That 14 out of 29 is going to be on the way, and we are about to look at now pretty much we're halfway through this Grand Prix, but still more than half, or rather half, is still remaining. So, you know, to get everything and to you know, have ourselves something out of nothing, let's say. We will need to find out what we're going to be getting and what we need to be getting right here, as it is once again Simpish and Dre. But actually, interestingly, Simpish is the only driver with a penalty in this race. Possibly would have expected, as he runs a little bit wide, almost went into the back of Dre there, but Dre walks out of it without a problem. Dre walks out of it with no issues, and job well done. But for how long is that going to be the case, though? Simpish on 4 lap-old mediums versus Dre on 2 lap-old mediums. And at the end of this lap, it's going to be 5 laps and 3 laps, so laps remaining, and apologies about that, just got disconnected. So there might be drivers and stuff as everything as well, probably for my motherboard and CPU. So I didn't install drivers for my CPU, but possibly maybe I have to look at things. I surely will, as hopefully by the end of the night I have my new PC ready. I would at least wish to do that, so I'd hope that I'm able to do that, because certainly that's what I want, at least, you know, for myself. But let's see then. 5/10 separating Dre and Simpish right here. Half a race distance still remaining. That 15 out of 29. Simpish in all that pressure. Up ahead on Dre, is arriving behind with the help of that DRS, using that ERS to his advantage, as well as he's nearly going to avoid that and run a little bit wide. Dre's going to be on the inside, but he can't do nothing, as Simpish is going to get the move done. But now again, the DRS is going to be available on Dre's car. The rear wing's going to be open on the next one, and once more, that position switch is going to be open as Dre gets past Simpish, and he gets the move done. Ooh, a little bit wide goes Simpish, while Dre make the move. So pretty much these guys have got similar speeds and pace as well, considering Dre is not unable to pull away, but so is Simpish unable to make the most of it, or make an overtake on Dre, or at least pull away from him after making an overtake. And once again, Simpish is only separated by 2.5 tenths. Nearly loses the car on the exit of the final corner, but these guys are really close, and surely, you know, pretty much we could say, you know, these guys are about to have a battle of their own, or let's say a battle they will be continuing and keep it going to the end of this Grand Prix. And sure, I mean, on a season finale, that's pretty much what you could ask for. Sure, we don't have a championship battle, but at least there is something out there instead of nothing, you know, in this one, which we could, you know, put it that way. And pretty much it is, you know, that is the best way to sum that up. You know, it's like there's at least something instead of nothing, while Dre once more is going to be pushing away and pulling away, but not too long before he gets caught up by Simpish. Simpish, remember, had a bit of a moment on the exit of the final corner, which certainly slowed him down and really made him lose time. But he's caught that back up again. 6.5 tenths, and he may be going a little bit wide once more. And sure he does, but he's going to be catching up, and he is indeed rapidly catching up to Dree. There is Simpish right here. Lap 17 out of 29. Our rear race leader heads into 8.6 seconds to the next car. And as I said earlier, only a DNF here in this point in this race could make Scooter lose the championship, which seems okay. We can drink having 7 drivers, and bottom two are AI, so unless he crawls without tower, unless he tries to push his car outside of it, he should be able to finish in P5 a minimum, even if things go wrong. And nearly there, my watch, you could have thought a bit of a change in base, and there was Simpish nearly again having a little bit of a moment, slightly on the exit, rear end, slightly stepping out, making it really difficult, making it very difficult for him to really have a chance, or, you know, not really being able to do the best right there. But well done. I think these guys, and again, Scooter is in. That interesting, yep, Scooter is in for his final stop in this race, and interesting will be to see whether Gap Reaper is going to continue or is going to come in and respond to the undercut from Scooter. Although these guys are pretty much going to be far away from each other in Grand Prix racing, while these remaining 11 laps to the end of it are going to be the ones we will watch out for. What are we going to be getting? I mean, pretty much we have the idea of what we're going to be getting, but the fight between Simpish and Dree is the one that is not going to stop anytime soon, and it is the one that is keeping going so far in the moment, and it is not yet stopping. Right there. Meanwhile, Simpish is closer to Dree as he is. Once more, again, a carbon copy of the previous rounds as he sends it on the inside into turn 5. And the first overtaking opportunity was nearly taken, but he pulls out of it once more. Slight bit of contact between the two drivers, and Dree after Simpish had to back out of it. But once again, I think he might have done it on purpose to get that DRS, and he nearly has to take avoiding action to run a little bit wide, and he does run wide and gets another time penalty. But he might argue that he had to go a little bit wide or go wide to avoid action, and that's how he got the penalty. So he might ask for his his penalty to be reverted, but how long, or is that really going to be reverted? We'd have to find out on what we're going to be doing. Meanwhile, lap 19 out of 29, so about, and there you go, Ferrari is in as well. So yeah, basically that's all, and we're about to find out what we're gonna be getting or doing in this race. And there we go, Simpish comes into the pits for his second pit stop, as well as our race leader should be moving over to lap, okay, still on lap 19, so pretty much from now into lap 20 should be 10 laps to the end of the Grand Prix, and still there is time remaining for that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy what we are watching on our screens. It's the final time, ladies and gentlemen. Then we'll start from 0 once again. You never know when that is going to be, so just enjoy whatever is in front of your screens. Meanwhile, as we are looking at this, and pretty much gaps are formed up. But remember, Dree has not pitted in this race for the second time. So as soon as he pit, it's going to be all. And so meanwhile, we have a chance to roam around. Let's roam around a little bit to look at things. And Scooter then, who's made his second pit stop, and so has Preeper along with Ferrucchi and Simpish. 4 drivers in this race so far have made a pit stop, second pit stop, which should pretty much see them go to the end of the Grand Prix. I think that is, it's going to be nice as Commander's now coming in as well. So, all right then, so Scooter in the lead by over 11 seconds from Preeper, who is also 23 seconds, over 23 seconds ahead of Ferrucchi, who then himself is 11 seconds ahead of Dree, while Simpish is 19 seconds behind Dree. But he's going to come into the pits, will Dree now, and Simpish is making his way around the hotel section in Abu Dhabi. While it'll be quite interesting because the pit lane exit is far away, and Dree then is on the tyres, and new tyres are on his car. We should see them come to the end of it, and he's going to just make his way under the pit lane exit, while Simpish is just making his way towards turn 1 now. Is it going to be any closer? That was quite close there for Simpish, trying to avoid any action, and it is not going to be, as Simpish has got the undercut on Dree and got the move and leads by over 2.1 seconds. But that could drop off though, because the tyre advantage is going to be for Dree. It's medium tyre versus hard compound tyre. That could go any way, and it possibly would be going any way. I think it would be going Dree's way at this time and status, but we'll only find out in a couple of moments, and you know, in a bit. While Dree has got P5, Simpish has got P4. Remember, Simpish has got penalties as well, while Scooter gets a 3-second time penalty, 12 seconds to Reaper. But I think he doesn't need to worry about anything. No matter whatever position he finishes today, nobody is going to stop him from winning the championship unless he himself, with things overall, even if he drives with the keyboard tonight, let alone you know, driving in his usual state while Reaper is out of the battery. He'll need to be charging. I think Scooter's going to charge on none as well, so maybe Reaper's going to gain a little bit time if you see him gaining, but Reaper himself is currently got no battery as well. But Dree is 1.3 seconds, 1.7 seconds behind Simpish. It's going to be interesting to see when does he catch up, in how many laps does he catch Simpish up within a second. That could see him get closer or have a chance at least against him, which you know, we'll you know, only find out on what we're going to be getting and what we really are you know, going to be getting. So it's on. It's about the case of what we are about to get and what we are going to be getting in the remaining laps. But it's you know, thing of our championship being already sorted. Pretty much Scooter, who sure has got the, he's got to work for it though. You know, Scooter wasn't quite dominant from the start, or let's say, you know, it wasn't that we knew straight away he was going to be the champion, so he had to work out along with a couple of other drivers. They, for whatever reason, didn't race or couldn't attend. It pretty much then went into the advantage of Scooter there, which surely is playing brilliantly so far, and I think playing in the chance of his brilliantly already, as he's going to head over to lap 24 now. And in the remaining 6 laps of this Grand Prix, with lap 24, 25, 26, 27, 29. So that's actually going to be 5 laps now from the end, I believe. It should be 6, though. I'm not quite sure, because Yeah, but it might actually just be 5 laps then to the end. Lap 24, lap 25, lap 26, lap 27, and lap 28, lap 29. Yep, it should be 6 laps indeed. Earlier then, it was a bit of a problem in calculations on our cases. Meanwhile, we're going to switch up to Dre and Simpish once again. And Dre, after all that medium tire that he's got on his car, is catching up to Simpish, but he's got no battery on his car. So hasn't Simpish got any battery to defend. It's pretty much about catch up, playing the catch up, playing everything they need to play, while right here we are. So, you know, it's on currently, while we will find out what we are about, you know, as I said, to get, but so surely these guys are not gonna let us have a nice little, you know, nice little boring evening. They're gonna make it interesting. If there is anything interesting about this race, it is this little fight between the two drivers. Well, these two are now going to be lapping the AI of Commander Rex, who's out of the way, and they head over into lap 24. Meanwhile, our race leader is almost on the end of it, and into lap 25. So our leader is almost he's got already, and they could possibly take second flag, but I don't think so. Probably they're gonna finish quite late and after our leader is finished, but definitely not gonna be, let's say, you know, they're not going to be taking the checkered flag early, at least, or finish a lap behind to make it count. Meanwhile, Dree is in P5 and Simpish in P4. To remember, penalties to Scooter has got 3 seconds, but Scooter needs to, as long as he finishes the Grand Prix, he's going to be the champion still, and Simpish has got 9 seconds, so even if Simpish finishes ahead of Dree on track, he will not be getting that place. He will not be getting that 4th place, at least, that he could possibly ask for or want for himself. And I think Dree is simply chilling out there, maybe not going for too much aggressive things, or simply he knows that as long as he's within 9 seconds of Simpish, he's going to get that 4th place. So possibly, maybe to going towards the end of the race, he maybe simply wants to take it nice and easy and take that place easily. Probably, I mean, don't get me wrong though, as soon as he gets the opportunity or he's close enough for a move, he will be going for it. And there it goes. He might be getting closer again and again. Meanwhile, he's actually losing a bit of time on Simpish, despite Simpish making a bit of a mistake and going a little wide on the exit of turn 1. Probably could make it quite easy for Dree to catch up, but I'm unsure whether he's going to catch up or not, because Simpish now, I doubt that he's going to be able to pull away over 9 seconds in the remaining laps. But even if he's able to pull away and stay, you know, more than a second ahead of Dree, I think that's going to be a win-win situation for him. Meanwhile, we're on board with our race leader. Well, we might not be there on board with him for a little bit longer time, because the closing we were talking about is ever closer, and Dree's going to send it on the inside line. They're nearly going to make contact, and just about they avoid each other. And well done to the two drivers, two rivals on track, for showing some brilliant display of racing, and they're going to keep doing that so far, and they've excellently quite kept it, while Dree pretty much then staying behind as well, just about staying right there. And Ferruki now gets a 3-second penalty, and so does Dree. That is interesting, but definitely Dree, 3 seconds as compared to Simpish is 9 seconds, so still 6 seconds are going to apply to Simpish. So instead of him having a 9-second penalty, it's just going to mean that he has now a 6-second penalty, adding those 3 seconds on Dree's car as well. And now not many laps are remaining before the man on your screen is the champion of Cockpit Drivers Championship Season 1. First ever season organized by the people here. Will be none other than Scooter to be the champion of Season 1. And that is going to be about what is going to be have to be looked up in the books while we watch Dree and Simpish. Apologies about that if we are really missing some bit of action while which you're enjoying on the track. Still, You know, we've got it here, and we've got our chance, or at least, you know, things to look at right here and right at the very start of it. You know, our leader now at the end of this lap, 27. But sure, I think in this race so far, it's the case of, you know, no other action other than this. But trust me, if it comes to boring races, this one is far better. I mean, I've seen worse, so definitely, if that's the case, this is a lot better, and I'd prefer even this little bit of a fight, even if it doesn't mean at the end of the day, or they're not fighting for a world championship. They don't have to be fighting for a world championship to you know, simply have good fun on track and enjoy out there, right out and about, as we're gonna watch all of this right here on lap 28 out of 29, the second last lap of everybody, the second last lap before we are at the end of this season, and for the final time here around Abu Dhabi this season 1. Ooh, Simpish could have had a chance to go on the inside line, and he's going to have a look at it next lap, a lap that they are yet to, I doubt that they're yet to start. I think they would have started already. Meanwhile, 3 is going to be on it, and he might try and have a go and stay ahead of our leader. And he indeed is ahead of our leader. And I think, yes, they actually might be almost a lap down against our leader. Well, sure, Scooter's in lap 28. You know, Faruqi and Dri and Simpish are not yet, haven't yet went over the line, and 3 seconds to Gap Reaper as well. So pretty much everybody now has a penalty out of our 5 active drivers. 12 seconds to Simpish, 3 seconds to Dri, Faruqi, Reaper, and Scooter. But pretty much the gaps are with how much the gaps are. Apart from Dri and Simpish, nobody else is really going to be effective, or let's say affected by their penalties, and would not matter at all. Meanwhile, our race leader is now heading into the final lap of the Grand Prix and final lap of this season, and an Abu Dhabi Grand Prix it is, which is going to find it out to having it come to an end at the end of this race. So it is all to play for, and it all comes down to this in these remaining moments, and it is Dri and Simpish going for it once again, going wheel to wheel, and Simpish goes into the back of Dri there, and there could be a bit of damage on Simpish's car. That could be interesting to watch out for, because that out and about is going to be getting crazier and crazier right here. Meanwhile, looking at our race leader, they might be arriving from a little bit behind, and indeed they are arriving not far away before the end of this season and this race for them. And it is now Simpish and Dri still going side by side, wheel to wheel, and action continues for them. But it is time for us to switch up to our race leader, and at one point it looked like he might get caught up by Gap Reaper, and in fact there was no time like that was going to make us think that, and it is going to be Gap Reaper, sorry, Scooter. He's going to come home to win not only the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix but also the championship here at Cockpit Drivers Championship Season 1. Your championship and drivers champion is in front on there, and Scooter wins the Grand Prix and the drivers championship with Gap Reaper, who finishes P2 and should be a set P2 in the championship as well. Well done for them for having a very good championship campaign as well. Meanwhile, Commander X and AR have taken the checkered flag along with the top 2, and it'll be Faruqi, who is just about to come to an end and take the checkered flag. And brilliant job by all of these drivers, and it'll be Faruqi who finishes off with a podium on here as well. An Abu Dhabi podium on to their name. Meanwhile, Dri and Simpish are still going at it. These guys might give us a photo finish to the line. While everybody else has taken the checkered flag, it is these two guys. They were not a lap behind, but yet again they were far away from our leaders, or at least the top 3. And Dri looks to be in complete control of this, though. Or is he, though? Because Simpish might send one on the inside. Might cheeky little move he can get, but he won't be doing that anymore. There is no time to do that, and it'll be Dree who finishes ahead of Simpish in P4, with Simpish himself getting a P5. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, an end that comes down to this brilliant, fantastic, and excellent season at Cockpit Drivers Championship. Of course, there's always things to improve, but I think for a season 1 to end and have a championship battle at the very end of the very final race of the season, it sure is a success. While Scooter is in P1, the Reaper in P2, Faruqi in P3, Dree in P4, with Simpish in P5, followed by Commander Rex and AR to an end of this Grand Prix. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of it then. And we are at the end of the Grand Prix there. And it was a brilliant actually fight between Simpish and Dree for many, many times. And brilliant performance by everybody. And that's going to be an end of this one too, ladies and gentlemen. Well done to everybody. And with that, Season 1 comes to an end. And goodbye then. It's going to be a very good goodbye from myself and from everyone here at the Cockpit Drivers Championship. We're out. See you next season. Whenever that one starts, we'll be back with a bang.